Well, hey everyone, thanks for watching this video. This is a short teaching video that's meant to open up conversation for our small groups. Those are called Zoom crews, and they meet online together at 7 p.m. tonight. If this is your first time with us, just DM us on Instagram, and we can get you into the Zoom crew that's right for you. But for the past few weeks, we've been going through a mini-series of videos together from the Bible Project. It's an animation studio from Portland, and this week we started reading through the book of Acts that tells the story of how the movement of Jesus followers actually started and how it grew to what it is today, and that we are a part of still to this day, about 2,000 years later. So this week, we looked at the part of the story that showed how these early followers of Jesus transformed from being a group, just one group of Jewish-only disciples of Jesus, and it expanded from that to becoming a scattered, multi-ethnic, multi-language, global movement of Jesus followers. Now, that kind of growth, that kind of transformation, and today, that may not sound so surprising. Because when something big happens on the other side of the world nowadays, because we have these phones that are like our portal to pretty much anything, we can hear about it just seconds after it happened, even if it was thousands of miles away. Now, I remember for me, it was just a few months ago. I was at my old job, and I heard my coworker at the restaurant that I worked at. He made a joke about, being scared about getting the coronavirus, and I had never heard of a coronavirus before at that point. And after that, as weeks went by, I started to hear little things here and there about a big virus outbreak in China, and then I heard about it breaking out in Italy, and then people started talking about people who had been traveling in San Jose and San Francisco, right next to where we were in Santa Cruz, and everything started to change, and everyone was talking about it. New rules were coming into effect for shopping or at my work or greeting people, even paying more attention to how I was feeling, right? I had multiple days, and you might have had this too, where I woke up with like a sore throat, and for me it was probably like from snoring during the night, but I felt stressed out that I might have caught it, right? All of a sudden I had this anxiety feeling like, oh man, I need to pay attention to this. What is this? I'm just going to stay home and think about it today. And just kind of obsessed over that, little sore throat that I had for hours that day. Now, eventually, my work had to close. I lost my job in Santa Cruz, and my wife Hannah and we got to move back to Visalia, which is actually where we wanted to be anyways. It just kind of accelerated that move for us, but in a very short period of time. Because global travel is common and easy nowadays, something has spread all over the world. We're all feeling the consequences of this. Now, it may seem like a weird connection to make, but what we were going through in the book of Acts shows us, at a much slower pace, the same thing happened as the movement of Jesus followers spread all over the known world. For them, it happened over the course of decades and centuries. And for them, it didn't just happen by shaking hands or coughing on someone. It happened because God was pouring out his love to people through people who were followers of Jesus in ways that the world was aching for. That's why, if you are a Christian today, that means somewhere way in the past, someone was loved and accepted and helped in a radical way by a follower of Jesus. And then that person who was helped was inspired, and then they desired to follow Jesus as a result. Then that person ended up loving and accepting and helping someone else. They were pouring God's love through them to another person. And then that other person was inspired and moved to follow Jesus as a result of receiving that love. And then that happened again and again and again until over the course of thousands of years, today, there are many, many followers of Jesus who are following him by the way that they love and accept and help the people around them in radical ways. It's allowing God's love to pour through them to the people around them. And if you choose, this continues to happen and spread even further through you. So, simple as that, here are my questions for you all tonight. First, if you do consider yourself a follower of Jesus, do you know the origin story of when it started for you? When that love was received and accepted? When were you accepted? When were you helped? That moved you to want to follow Jesus. And if your family is made up of followers of Jesus, do you know the origin story of when it started for them? Does it go back 1 generation, 2, 5? Is it so far back that you don't even know? And then another question would be, looking towards the future, what do you want your legacy to be? Like, let's say, way into the future, even if you are not able to be remembered by name generations down the line. But let's say that there is something that has been passed on from you to those future generations. What would you want that thing, that behavior that was passed on from you to be? What is that? What's that legacy you want to leave behind? And then, so you'd say, in other words, what do you want your mark on the world to be that you leave behind by how you live your life? Finally, looking at the here and now to the present, today, what are you doing or not doing in order to make sure that you are leaving behind that kind of mark? What are you doing? Those are your questions for Zoom Cruise tonight. Now, I just have a few announcements, and then you all are free to head into your groups. But first thing is this. In regard to, I had mentioned before, Best Week Ever Summer Camp. Across the board, all camps that involve sleeping over, coming together, gathering into the same place for this summer, those are canceled for this summer. So including Best Week Ever for high school, that was scheduled for the end of July. That will not be happening. But we still are going to be figuring out how to make this summer a really fun experience still. And building up into the summer, for the end of the school year that we're in, first of all, there are Zoom Crews today. But then next Sunday is Memorial Day weekend, and we will not be having Zoom Crews. All right, just enjoy that day safely with your family. Then, the weekend after that, May 31st, that's the last day of May, last Sunday of May, that will be our last Sunday night of Zoom Cruise. So what we're going to do is we're going to celebrate this last Sunday night by getting everyone from all groups together in one big Zoom call. And then we're going to be having some fun together. We're going to have some games. We're going to do some things that are fun. And then we'll be sending you off into groups for your last Zoom crew time together with your small group leader. And this is this really special opportunity to honor and show appreciation to the leaders and the other students in your small group for how they've been there for you over this past school year. And it's an opportunity to get to honor and celebrate you in making it through another school year, which was one unlike any other I have ever seen before. So that's May 31st. And then in June, we kick off our summer, and we will be figuring out ways to make this summer fun. We've got to be creative, but we're going to make it happen. So I want you guys to keep an eye on our Instagram and Facebook, and we will be keeping you in the loop with the fun things that we can do together this summer. So those are all the announcements for today. If you have any questions, you can email me at micah@ncvisalia.com. It's Micah, M-I-C-A-H, @ncvisalia.com. Feel free to reach out to me with anything. But now, go and talk about those questions I mentioned earlier with your small group leader in Zoom Cruise. I love you guys. Have a good night.